Wake Forest, we expect more these days. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, previewing all the schedules, landing in Winston-Salem with Wake Forest and the 8th most difficult schedule in the ACC. It's number 42 in the nation as we rank all the schedules. All right, Wake Forest typically doesn't schedule difficult games outside of the conference. It's a lot of FCS games, it's a lot of group of 5 games, and it's rarely anyone other than a Vandy or someone of that ilk outside of the ACC. They do have to deal with, of course, the Atlantic Division, one of the best in college football. All right, let's start non-conference. This season, Wake Forest, thanks to the Notre Dame contract and the rotation of games for the Irish, has to deal with Notre Dame again this season. Wake Forest went to South Bend last year, got bludgeoned in the first half, came back with a futile effort of a comeback, and lost by double digits to Notre Dame. This time, they get the Fighting Irish at home September 22nd. The rest of the non-conference schedule, as you can imagine, very weak. Tulane on the road to start August 30th. Towson in week 2. A game against Rice to close out September. And those are the 4 non-conference games. Notre Dame and nobody, basically. So Wake Forest has to win 3 of 4. All right. They have to deal with Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina State, Louisville, Boston College in the Atlantic. Who do they play in the Coastal? That's always key. Well, they've got their closeout game against Duke that they always play, so that's the designated rivalry that makes no sense in the ACC, one of many. Duke and Wake Forest, the final game of the season. Not saying that Duke and Wake have no rivalry, but it's not imperative that they play. But that is the scheduled game at Duke, November 24th. And Wake Forest also plays out of the Coastal Division. Pitt, the second to the last game of the season on November 17th. Okay, if you're looking for a difficult stretch for Wake Forest to have to make it through, it starts after an open date on October 13th. They've got Florida State and Louisville on the road, Syracuse and North Carolina State after that. Then if they can get close to postseason play, which hasn't been an issue the last 2 years, they've reached bowl games and won bowl games the last 2 years. Pitt and Duke are very winnable the last 2 games of the season. Wake Forest checks in with a schedule that features Notre Dame and 3 easy wins, non-conference. And then, of course, as we mentioned, Pitt and Duke, very winnable outside the division this season. 8th most difficult, thanks to Clemson, Florida State in that Atlantic Division. 8th most difficult in the ACC. Number 42 in the nation. Belongs to the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest and Dave Clawson, who's done a great job there. As we preview the schedules, rank them, and then we'll come back in a few weeks and, of course, give you our previews and predictions for 2018. Right here on the voice of college football, Mark Rogers TV.